You all want to leave your job. Some of you do, oh, I love my job. I really don't want to. You want to leave your job. Don't lie to me and don't lie to yourself. If you could sit home or sit on a beach somewhere and knowing that you only put in 90 minutes in a work day, taking a trade that you've basically stalked for a couple days and you made more than your job would have paid you for that month. Nobody wants to stay working in that environment. Okay, forget about it. You're not gonna convince me, and you're not gonna convince anybody else that you love your job so much that you want to give your personal time and freedom and be away from your family to make somebody else rich. Okay, say that bullshit. Nobody believes that. So you all want that. That's why we're here. That's why we're trading, because we want to lead the rat race. And guess what? That's commendable, because there's a lot of people that say, you know what, it's too hard. I'm just going to suck it up. And they medicate themselves with alcohol and drugs and extracurricular things in their marriages, in their relationships. That's a destructive path. Whereas if you just simply say, hey, I have to have a job right now, but I don't have to have a job the rest of my life. I don't have to have that. That's a decision you're making. And that is still in your control, even with the things that are in play right now. Inflation, the struggles with, employment, finding, affordability with everything, housing, cars, all that stuff. I'm going to tackle all that stuff in this series. I'm making a practical trading series. See, it's not enough to simply say, ABC 1, 2, 3, here's the system, here's the setup, and go in and trade it and make money. That's not enough. It's too myopic. You're giving a child a loaded gun. That's never good, because harm is going to come. It's inevitable. So I know I've given you a 50 caliber Barrett, and you don't even realize it yet. But if you understand where you're going with it, what are you going to do with it? You'll see how easy it is to build wealth. Wealth doesn't happen right away. Now, your goal should be to work towards being rich. Rich is not wealthy. Wealthy is where the money's making money for you. Rich is where you don't need to work to make your bills. There's a difference there. Anytime I go out to eat with my friends, that kick around money, that pocket change, that would be after I paid my bills. And the first bill I paid myself was the $1,000 a month. So I lived on that principle that I paid myself first, and then everything else, whatever I had left, I lived on that. So I'm forcing my son into that. And I'm telling you as my students to do that same thing. So you might be laughing and thinking, man, I can't, $1,000 ain't gonna do nothing for me. Oh, really? Really? Okay, let's say you have a $2,500 a month mortgage. And that's pretty reasonable considering most houses are around $350,000. That's like the median price right now in the US. With maybe utilities and your mortgage, $2,500 is about there. What happens if you have $1,000 every month that goes towards that? How much of an ease on your stress and nerves would that bring you? I can tell you that would be a very big weight, and you're not getting everything covered, but you're doing the right thing. That's making ends meet. And then doing that month after month, slowly growing it more. So then you're trying to make $1,250 a month, and then $1,500 a month, $1,750, $2,000 a month. What that does, it allows you to grow with a principle-oriented approach that you have to make this work with a sober, low-hanging fruit objective and target. You're not out there just throwing the dice and say, okay, let's see what I can get. What's the best that can happen in this situation? That's a laboratory experiment that's guaranteed to blow up in your face. Versus, I don't need to do very much to make $250 a week. Even in Forex, as stagnant as those pairs are right now, you can still eke out $250 a week. It's not a big deal. It's easy. If you're trading micros in the S&P and NASDAQ, the futures market, not the $50 per point for ES, but the $5 per point, or not point, per point. That would still be possible to get that $250. You're going to work, but you can get it. But you want to have a approach that allows you to do the very least and let the compounding over time and the new equity increases, let that do the heavy lifting. That's what I did. That's the real secret to it all. Doing something very small, cookie cutter approach. When I was on baby pips, okay, what did I preach? If you were with me back then, 2010, what was I teaching? Find one good setup, 25 pips a week. Now you can get 5 pips a day. If you're ultra new and you're scared to get into a trade and hold it to the completion, is there something wrong with going into a trade and getting out after 5 pips? No, not if you're new, because you're going to be scared. You're going to be terrified it's going to turn against you, and it might turn against you. But if it moves 5 pips in your favor and you're brand new and you cover and you get out, you give yourself that cookie. And then you say, okay, I'm aiming for 25 pips, but I got out this entire week, every single day, and I got out with 5 pips of movement. It went to my target, or it came back and stopped me out. Who cares? But 5 pips it gave me, and I got it when it offered it to me. I closed it. I did it every day, so now I got my 25 pips. Is there anything wrong with that? No. Not if you're a brand new trader? Nope, absolutely not. And then the next week you go in and say, okay, I'm going to try to hold on and see if I can get to that 8 pips or 10 pips of the 25 I'm getting. And then when you get it, even though it looks like it's going in your favor to your target, you close it at 10. Just do that. What you're doing is you're giving yourself experience. It's unrealistic for any educator, me included, to sit down and say, okay, here's what you do, here's how you learn how to trade, and then go in there and hold it for your target or stop. And don't ever take any partial or early exits. That is stupid. You're stunting their growth. The best learning I've had was gradually going into making money. I had flash in the pan wins. I ran up accounts real fast and real fast blew them out. So I didn't understand the weight of making money like that, because it's very stressful and it's addictive. Like, I've never done cocaine, I've never done heroin, I've never done any kind of hard narcotics, and I've never been drunk in my life. But I can tell you, I've been high on the markets, and that is a rush that is absolutely phenomenal. Like, it is nuts. Once you feel it, you'll know what it means to know what it feels like to be high on the market, because you feel invincible. You feel like you're the cock of the walk. There ain't nobody that's better than you. Nobody can touch you. Don't even talk to me. Don't even speak to me. Like, you're beneath me. That's what happened to me. I became a jerk, a prick. But that's the worst route to take. If I would have stuck with my making ends meet approach, $250 a week, break it down modularly. Let's say your goal isn't $1,000. Say it's the full $2,500 a month for your mortgage. Not that you're depending on making that to pay your mortgage, but what you're trying to do is aim for some end that you have to meet every month. Start with trying to just get half of it, or try to meet your lowest. Maybe it's a cable bill. Maybe it's a credit card bill. And it may not even be $100. But go into your trading with that mindset. And I promise you, it seems silly. It seems like, what? I'm in this to do big money. But you can't do big money unless you're consistently managing little money. Little bit of management on a little bit of money is going to teach you everything you need to know how to do large money over time. Because that little bit of money, if you keep doing it correctly, what does it become? More money. And that more money has a growth curve in terms of, okay, I'm used to trading 1 micro on ES, and it's $5 per point. Now I'm at the point where I can trade 2 micros and then 3 micros. And at some point you start trading 1 mini. So now you have $50 per handle, $12.50 per tick. That feels a little bit different first time you do it. If you're not used to seeing that, it's a little intimidating, and you start thinking, oh, this is too much, it's too much. And I've watched guys on YouTube get in there and trade on a 1-minute chart, and just about every single 1-minute candle, they're trying to do something, and it's moving around. Such a small little fluctuation, but they're like, I gotta get out. Okay, it's going against me. What are they trading? I don't think they know. So you have to know what you're doing. That's why I taught my son to just go after 5 handles. 5 handles, that's it. If he gets it in the morning, he doesn't have to do it in the afternoon. If he doesn't get it in the morning, he goes in looking for it in the afternoon. If he has a losing trade in the afternoon, it doesn't take a trade. He eats it. If he takes a trade in the morning and he gets the 5 handles, he has the choice to go in the afternoon, but I tell him by the model, don't do it. Trade the next trading day and look for that setup again. There's lots of 5 handle moves all day long. There's lots of them. There's a plethora of them. So what is that? That's a low hanging fruit objective. It's real easy to find 5 handles every single trading day. Even in a choppy market, 5 handles can be had. Now, what does 5 handles mean to you? Well, it's going to mean different things to each one of us. To me, it's going to mean a whole lot. To someone like my son, it could mean $1,250. So $1,250, if you just do that one time, just once a week, that's pretty good for not even being 24. Now, I don't want him to stop there. Obviously, as his father and as inner circle trader, ICT, I want my son to be a freak. Like, I want him to be way beyond me. And he has the advantage of youth. And I have all the advantage of the wisdom. And I can tell him how to get there, but he has to do these things to do it. He can't just, I'm going to go in there and just go all in. It's not Texas Hold'em. It's trading for a living. And you're trying to do one of 2 things: build wealth or make ends meet. In the beginning, you can't build wealth. You have to make ends meet. That means you have to consistently do things that make sense to erase the debts that you have to pay out every single month. Those debts, you're going to have them the rest of your life. I'm rich and I still have to pay utility bills. I still have to pay all these little things that add up. Amazon Prime, HBO Max. Like, I got everything. There isn't a channel or a service out there that my wife or kids don't have. And I don't watch TV, but I have to pay for that. It's a bill. Okay. I could sit down and say, you don't need all this stuff, but I don't care. It's a write-off. All these things are a write-off. So I use that to my benefit. That's the justification I give to myself. But my family, they're spoiled. They don't need to have all these things, but they have them because we can afford to have them. You may not afford them right now, but you can be in a position where it won't matter to you either. But you can't jump to that. Like, I was trying to jump as a 20-year-old thinking, wow, I can make a lot of money in a very short period of time. And I'm only doing it with 1 contract. So I jumped to doing 3 and 5 and 10 contracts of bonds in the S&P. And yes, when I was right, man, it was really nice. But when it was going against me, it paralyzed me in fear. It scared the living hell out of me, because it's fun and it's exhilarating, and you have that deer in headlights paralysis when it's running off in profit, and you don't have a target. You don't know where it's going. I want to go in and see how far it'll go up. And you get stuck looking at the chart, and it's just going, and you don't know when to get out. And I would overstay my welcome. And then I think, okay, well, it's just retracing down to this level. This old high is going to find some support because it's a floor now, because the ceiling's been broken. Now it's going to support wrong, going lower, and I'd find some other old high and draw a line across my chart. and expected it to be support, and it wouldn't. And I wouldn't get out of the trade because I had what? I had no structure in what it is I was doing. I was like that $1 million sailboat out there with no rudder. Wherever the wind's going to carry me, as long as I'm in the marketplace, that's what was happening to me. And I had fortunes going in and out of my account all the time, but no idea where to pull the plug. Whereas if I just simply would have said, you know what? I want to make $1,000 a month and save that, right? Okay, what happens if I just get that for the day and just stop on 20 contracts? Yeah, $20,000 a day. It's hard to stop though, because if you can see the potential to make 50, you're going to do what? You're going to hold for 50. And as a young man with no idea what the hell he was doing, just rolling the dice, that's what I was doing. And it was worse when I started inviting people to see me doing it. And I would get a high off of being right in front of everybody. And I'd be like, yeah, look at that. See, you know the hell I am. I'm the guy that's going to do this in front of you every single day. Ha ha, look at this. Strength. And then when it was bad, I wanted to crawl under a rock. It was too much. My ego couldn't allow for that because I didn't build in those expectations in performance. So you won't have all those problems if you use low-hanging approaches to make your ends meet. So you start gradually from a very small, low-hanging fruit objective and make it so insignificant in terms of money that it won't be hard for you. And you gradually build that up. This is why I tell everybody, you're not going to get good at trading your first year. You're not going to get good at trading in your first 2 years. It's going to take you 5 to 10 years to get really good at trading. What's my definition of good? You know yourself. You know what's going to keep you from blowing up, and you avoid it. You soberly consider the risks that are involved, not just what's the maximum I can make here. See, I guarantee you, if we were doing a poll, like if we were in a live event and I gave out this handout in the beginning, it was a questionnaire, real quick questionnaire, and then you had to drop it off in a box before I got up on the stage, start talking to everybody. It would be, what are you more likely to feel impulsive about? Going after the big money or fear of the losing trade? You're going to be impulsive about making the big money because that's what you've been trained. Me, every other educator out there, every author, every YouTuber, any influencer, we all do the same thing. We all talk a good game about you can make money doing this, but not all of us talk about the perils of losing money. I do that, and a couple other large name people do it too. But from my knowledge, I have never seen anybody break it down to a point where it's humble beginnings and you start there. I didn't learn that from somebody else. I had to figure that stuff out. And I abandoned it foolishly and just started going after Lambo lifestyle. I want to have the Lux lifestyle, luxury. Everything in the Rob Report magazine, that's what I was aiming for. Not, this is the number of pips and points I can get in the marketplace consistently, and I'm going to use money management to do all the heavy lifting. I didn't know what I was doing. And I'm a math guy, science guy, and I got lost in the money. That's what happens, folks. It's exactly what happens. And I know some of you are going to think to yourselves, well, I'm not going to be a victim to that. ICT was a fool. No, we all get bit by that bug. Greed, man, it's a venom that you just don't understand until you feel it. And the problem is you don't even know you're under its influence until it's too late. Ruin. Then you're like, oh, if I just would have realized at that moment. And yeah, every time I blew my account, I know the exact moment I should have not done the very thing. But yet I still did it. Because I had no structure. I had no way of determining what it was that I was aiming for. And it's not just a dollar amount. What are you striving for? What is it you're aiming for your trading? What's the goal? What's the reasons why you're doing all this stuff? If it's just to make money, okay, how much? How are you gonna earn that much money? What is it you're trying to do? If you looked at trying to make 1% a day, you'll find out that 1% is pretty easy. And what happens is you get greedy because you know you can get that 1%, and it doesn't take a lot of effort to get it. Now, to make 1% one time a week, that is amazing results, folks. Okay, so before I go any further, just know that if that's all you do, you're killing it. Okay, don't let these guys out here that are trying to tell you they make 20%, 50R trades every single week. Okay, because believe me, they would put me on welfare if they were making that kind of money, and they would be proving it. They don't. If they're making that kind of money, why are they trading 0.5 lots on their Forex trades? You've been trading like this and making 50R and 200R trades for 2 years, and you're still beneath one full standard lot? Come on now. It doesn't hold up. The logic doesn't equate to them telling the truth. So you have to have that in mind as a trader. You have to know where the bullshit is, draw a line in it, and say, okay, this is what's going to get me in trouble if I aim to do those things. If I try to duplicate what I see other people doing on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on ICT videos or whatever, that's not you. You need to go back to your roots. Where are you at right now? Where do you live? How do you live? What do you have to pay? Because those bills, whether you watch an ICT video, whether you learn from me or someone else, those bills are coming every single month. That end needs to be met. Now, you have to work your job or jobs, maybe go into school and work your job. You have expenses. They have to be met. You're struggling right now, but that is a temporary thing. That's temporary.